Hi, I'm Katie Todd, and today's episode is called Proving and Improving, the Insatiable Quest for Love. This is actually about the master-slave archetype or personality trait. And I've got a fabulous story to tell you about a client that I'm seeing right now. This archetype, the master-slave, is one of the most common in the world, so most of you watching are going to have this one, or you're definitely going to know someone who's got it. This person that I'm talking about is in his mid-40s, and he really works hard. He is addicted to working hard, and he's come to see me with his wife because their marriage is in trouble. They are on the brink of not making it, and they know that, and so they've come to see if there is any way they can pull it together because they have a family, and this is really important. So what's a master-slave person like? What's my client like? Well, you know, when he was raised, he had a father who said, you've got to work, you've got to be doing something constructive all the time. So the message was to him, for him to be loved, he needed to be doing something constructive. He had to earn it, he had to achieve it, he had to prove it. Every day, mentally, he sets himself a list of tasks that he's got to do. If he doesn't get them done, he feels like he's let himself down. He feels like he's not worth what he should be worth. So he pushes himself, and this is the slave part. He's like the slave driver. He cracks the whip. I've got to do this, I've got to do that. He works very hard. He's trying to make a lot of money. He's got a good career, but the pressure that comes from this job is enormous. When you get paid a lot of money, you're expected to deliver a lot. So he's always working. He comes home, he has his dinner, and he's back to the computer and he's working. Weekends, he's working. But guess what? When he's not literally working away on his job, he's working around the house. You see, that is a sense of work as well. For this person to feel like he's worth something, he has to be working. When his wife has asked him for years now, do you want to come for a ride? Do you want to come for a walk? Shall we go for breakfast together? Do you want to come down the shops with the kids with me? Oh, I'd love to be able to go down to the shops with you. And she looks at him. You would? Oh yeah, I'd love to. I don't have time to do that. If you want to live in a house like this, if you want to be accustomed to the lifestyle that we have, I can't afford to do that. I've got to go back and work. Well, is that true? You can virtually see the cross on his back as he martyrs and suffers away. I have this archetype, so it's like looking in the mirror for me when I see this. We're very unconscious of this, so bringing it to your attention can be so helpful. This person sees fun and relaxing as a threat. Because if he's not doing something, he's not worth anything. He's been programmed to believe this. As he's pushed himself through the years, and remember, he's in his mid-40s now, as he's pushed himself through the years, it hasn't made him feel more worthy. He doesn't feel more lovable. He doesn't feel like he's worth loving. So, well, I mustn't be working hard enough, so I'll just crack the whip harder, and I'll have to do this and I'll have to do that. He'll say, I'm not happy in my job, but I have to do it to be able to pay the mortgage, to pay for the investment property, and we have to have that to be comfortable in our old age. So he has to. With master-slave people, you hear them complain a lot what they have to do. Their partners and the people around them get very tired of this. It's very draining to hear. What I'm trying to point out to my client is, you're choosing to live in this house. You're choosing to work. You're choosing to work at this level of pressure. You're choosing not to have fun. I said, go on, let's just imagine, just for fun's sake, that you take the weekend off this weekend. You go on your bike and you ride down to a restaurant with your wife and family and you have breakfast. And then you go down to the park and you kick the footy with the kids for a while. And then you have a rest and then you say, how about we go for a movie later? But you actually chill out. How would you feel? And he said, oh my God, I feel so guilty. I couldn't possibly do that. And his whole sense of identity is about doing. So in other words, he's got no sense of the feminine. When we give our list to the person about what we have to do, inevitably they say, but it doesn't have to be done today. You know, the life will go on, the sun will rise tomorrow if you wait and do it on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. Now, what you'll get from master-slave when they're in shadow is they'll say, I have to do it now. They get very angry. Because if you take away these tasks that they've set in their mind to get there, to achieve love, if you take away, then they won't have achieved it. They're waiting for the day when they've made it. Except when they've done all these tasks, they get there and the goalposts move suddenly. I don't feel any better. There's a great story I heard about Elton John, saying he'd done this amazing concert for 100,000 people, Wembley Stadium in London. And he came back to his dressing room and people were cheering and screaming. They thought he was just fantastic. And he said, I've never felt so empty or so lonely in my life. You see, you can't feel loved and lovable and worth loving from achievements. It's impossible. There's always more to do. And if you are making yourself have to prove all the time that you're lovable, just the very action of proving you're lovable means you're saying, I'm not lovable. Today, if you could say to yourself, I've already made it, that would give you the freedom, and the master is the one who's about freedom. I'm master of my own destiny. If I've made it already now, if I am more than enough as I am, and we all are, if I am more than enough as I am, would I say yes to that today or would I say no? Would I say enough is enough? Would I be aware that I've got the whip out and I'm pushing and forcing and proving, and then I collapse and then I feel bad about myself and then I go and work again? This client of mine is so bad in the shadow of this archetype, not bad, but so compulsive with this, that he can't even read for pleasure. He can only read or go out and do things if it is improving him in some way. So he's always proving or improving. He has sacrificed his marriage, he has sacrificed his role as a father, and he could lose the lot in this insatiable desire from his child, from the master slave, to prove he's worth loving. What is so tragic is they love him. All they want to do is be with him. He needs to realise that he is more than enough as he is. He needs to start recognising his own worth and become the master of his life. If he chooses to work in this job, then do it without complaining. If he chooses to go out, he needs to enjoy it and have time with his family. What are his priorities? At the moment, this addiction is numbing his loneliness and his sense of a lack of worth. And that's what addictions are for. I don't care what addiction you've got. TV, exercise, sex, coffee, alcohol, drugs, it doesn't matter what it is. Addictions are here to numb where we are. His addiction to work and proving himself has been there to numb his pain. We are all worth more than we realise. So many of us have the master slave. Have a think about whether you might have this one too.